Mr. Matt Jones loved our episode. What a conversation. One of my absolute. I always talk highly about my podcast episodes. This was by far top tier, my friend, top tier. We hit on things that are very near and dear to my heart, and you definitely exposed some things that hit me hard. And Michael, you're a big shout out to you as well, man. You said some things in our earlier conversation that totally helped me understand some new things that were a big part of my life. And Matt, I got your letter right here. It's coming to you. It's going over to Texas. And how dare I not mention Vanessa as one of these wonderful women that is a part of my life. You are also wonderful. Thank you all for being here. I'm very, very excited for this. And I hope you are all having a wonderful day. Cheers.
Sweet, man. So TMH, Touch My Health, related to your business.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Ian, nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too, man.
Thank you. Yeah, Touch My Health. My girlfriend and I are kind of goofy. And have you heard that song called When I Think About You, I Touch Myself?
Huh. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
We kind of had to play on words of when I think about you, I touch my health. So we use touch my health as a way to help people holistically heal, holistically get well, and use holistic supplements to, be the best version of themselves. And we opened our own LLC under that name, Touch My Health, where we partner with Bravenly Global, and we have a health and wellness supplement business. And we started our own podcast. We started it under the Touch My Health name, where it's all about holistic wellness and holistic healing after abuse. So I've been through, like on our last podcast, we talked about some physical abuse that I endured while I was a child and up through my teen years. And my girlfriend was married to two narcissists that she endured a bunch of narcissistic abuse and mental, none physical, mostly the mental, but as you know, the bruises go away and the mental stays, So that's really what we have started our own podcast about, and it's under the TMH, Touch My Health.
That's awesome, man. I really like that, and I can totally respect what you guys are doing for sure. What has been one of the biggest accomplishments that you guys have attained since going through everything?
Just every way to invest where it can give dividends.
Wow.
and be able to pull back money and earn money without giving away time.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Did you also have a friend or something in relation to like helping you get started with passive income, or?
My grandpa. My grandpa on my biological mother's side, we called him Papa. He was a big investor. He was a big investor into stocks
Okay.
and left me when he passed away about 8, 9 years ago. He left me a bunch of stock, and rather than cashing out and taking that money, I wanted to learn more about it and how he left it to me. I want to do the same for my daughter. And I eventually started learning and looking up stocks and watching stock and figuring out ways to invest without it being gambling, because you can invest in any stock and it die. I
Right.
mean, it just completely plummets and you lose your investment. So being smart with the investment, I started looking into ways to grow at least 5% a year.
Okay. What made you open to doing it? I know that you said you did a lot of it, like a lot of research, but what made you open to the idea of it? What was like the basic thing that you said, oh, this is why I want to do it?
I want to be comfortable with retirement. I
Cool.
want to retire early. I'm 41 and I want to retire by the time I'm 50,
Wow, good
completely
for you.
retire and tell the corporate world kick rocks
Hmm.
and, and figure out ways to do that passively.
Passively, I like that. I like passively. And like how, just out of curiosity, how long have you been in the corporate world?
Gosh, probably 25, 25 years. Let's see, I got out of the military '06, so whatever '06 to now is 19 years.
19. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
19 years. I mean, I've been around the oil and gas industry. I've been in the service industry, and you know, 20 years, we'll just call it 20 years. It's a long time to work for somebody else and help build somebody else's dream.
Sure.
And somebody with a dream, built their company to be what it is. Like I work for a utility company, and it's a multi-million-dollar company, and that's really what has kicked me to wanting to do this, is because if I can help somebody else build their dream, I should be building mine too.
I completely agree with that. Rad, man. And so for you, what's like your ideal situation going into this? Like you are 10 years from now, having this lifestyle that you want. What is like waking up and kind of doing what you want look like?
The first thing is getting my pilot's license.
Really?
My pilot's license and learn to fly. I have had
Oh,
a huge love for the air. I've I don't know, I've flown probably 1,000 times, whatever, and I've always wanted to learn. I worked on F-18s when I was in the military. I had an
mm,
aviation background, and I've always wanted to learn how to fly. I thought it looked so cool. I've been in a helicopter. When I was in the military, I asked for them to take me up and had to fill out this request, and I was able to go up in a helicopter, and I fell in love. And the
cool.
air just, I mean, free from all of the hustle down on the streets, you know.
Totally, totally. That's rad,
Up
man.
there, just you in the clouds,
I
you know.
like that. Totally. Yeah, I can get that.
I've
Wow.
sailed the world. I've been on ships and sailed the world, basically sailed around the globe. If you're not a flat earther, you think you know, world is a globe. I sailed around it and I loved it and
Mm,
got to experience the sea part. So now I want to do the air part.
nice, man. Good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you. Wow. 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 And so what would waking up look like mean to you if you had all this? Would it be like you sleep in, you want to wake up at a certain hour? What's your scene?
I always fight this, Ian. uh, People say to be the most productive, you need to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Ooh,
five
I
o'clock.
like where this is going. Good. Yes, please.
And I'm not a morning person, brother. I do
Oh, this is
not,
funny.
I do not like mornings.
Yeah, neither do I. I mean, what defines morning? Like what time are you talking? 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning?
I get up on average between 7 and 8 without an alarm clock.
That's
So
pretty normal, I feel
waking
like.
up without an alarm clock first, that's first. I'm gonna wake up when I want to.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Obviously, if I have an obligation like a flying lesson or something like that, I would wake up and have my nootropic coffee first thing in the morning. Shameless plug to our nootropic coffee. Uh, I would,
Funny.
sit around, do some stock trading. The stock market opens at 8:30 my time, so
Yeah,
I would do some early morning stock trading and
yeah.
see where the day goes. I'm a huge cook, so I like to jump out in the kitchen, and I breakfast is my favorite thing to cook. So I
Mm.
usually throw down pretty heavy on breakfast. I usually just kind of push through lunch, just something, easy, something reheatable from last night's dinner. But then usually I jump in the kitchen and cook dinner too. And that's what, normal day would look like. Obviously,
Mhm.
trips and going and seeing what the world is like, and how other people live in other countries. That's a huge bucket list. But I like wearing flip-flops and being on the beach, man. I'm a hot weather kind of guy.
I like
Just
that, man.
outside right now, it's like 40 degrees. I'm in
I
a
like it.
hoodie.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of wearing all of these layers of clothes.
Oh, I can get that. Yeah. Cold weather. Yeah. No, I
How about
agree.
you? You're not a morning person, you said?
No, I just like to like I like that conversation because it's like what like it's almost based off of hours in a day, right?
Hmm.
And so people are saying you have to wake up early to like get stuff done to do to do X, Y, and Z. But I mean like if you're getting because I've heard people talk about like, you know, be well rested regardless if you're trying to be successful or not trying to be successful. Like being well rested is important. And I completely agree with that. So
Yeah.
if we all have the same amount of time in the day, like I I think
Doesn't
that
matter what time it starts.
yeah, like why does like if you're gonna fall asleep at 12 and be productive like now given there's some like pieces to this that like if you're more productive in the morning and you're less productive in in the evening, then maybe go to bed early to be more productive, like utilize your productivity time. Don't just like try to stay up late to try to get like, it's just a math problem at that point. So I mean, I can see where people are coming from. Now, it's different if you have to be at an office at a certain time in the morning, because then
Right.
that crosses into like, okay, this is the only time I could go and like get a workout in before going to work or something like that. But that's a little bit different. Like, and I'm not like, but I think if you have the whole day slotted out, like same 24 hours in a day, regardless which way you look at it, I don't see why it would matter.
Everybody's given 24 hours in a day,
Yeah.
and it's up to you to utilize them how you feel is most productive.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm most productive after 7 a.m.
Perfect. Valid. Valid.
Yeah. I go to bed between 9 and 10 usually. So within those hours, I mean, I'm looking at 14 hours awake. I'm probably busy right now with my 9 to 5 job and my side business 13 out of those 14 hours a day.
Dang.
And that's the way that I choose to live right now. I want to not be lazy, and I want to make the most out of those 14 hours. And if you're given 14 hours, I mean, talk about time differences, right? Say your customers are in Dubai. Their their time difference is what, like 14 hours or 13 hours or
At
something like
least.
that.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, there's that difference too.
I like that. And I am curious about this other point, like just kind of getting a little bit off of topic here.
Uh-huh.
Um, there has been someone who mentioned to me a while ago that it was like I've never recruited outside of my own company. Like it's just something they don't do. And I'm curious to get your feedback on it because what do you find in relation like so just for the sake of example, like someone partnering with like two or three companies instead of just the one. Like I've heard it's like like some people treat it as like don't do that. I would never do that type of thing, but I'm like why like I get confused by it and I'm a little bit more on the viewpoint of like why would you? push off like the opportunity to make extra money with somebody else, especially if you like working with them? What's your viewpoint?
I would say expand your brand. Expand as much as you can.
Okay.
So long as there's not a conflict, if everybody is okay with it,
Yeah.
I don't see the problem with having multiple business relationships with companies. And I mean, you want to work with them and they want to work with you. I
Yeah.
don't have a problem there.
Right. Interesting. I like where this conversation is going. And so like I don't know if you're okay saying it or sharing it, but like what's like the monthly cost for people to do business with you?
That all depends on what supplements and what their wellness looks like.
Okay.
It can be as little as $20 and as much as $200,
Okay.
right? And that really depends. Now I put my monthly or my hourly at $50 an hour, right? My the cost of my time is $50 an hour.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
so to work with me is going to cost $50 an hour.
Hmm.
Um, to work with my brand is completely different.
Oh, is in like getting coaching one-on-one is $50 an hour, but to work with your business is different.
Yeah, because we're a health and wellness supplement business, so it's based on that. And working with me directly would be, a cost, and then uh, any supplements and that would be different. So to answer your question though, I don't see why you would want to keep yourself in a box and not work with a bunch of people or multiple businesses and
Yeah.
incorporate their knowledge with your knowledge and then expand as you can go,
Right.
as far as you can go.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing I look at too, because if you have multiple businesses, then something else that can happen is maybe they cross over, like almost like cross-pollination in a way, where it's like, oh, you have one person, and from my observation, if you get someone to purchase something once, it's actually easier to get them to purchase a second time.
Yeah,
So you're going through all this, like, in my viewpoint, hard work and labor to get one person to say yes to one thing. But I mean, if you have like four different things that you're doing, why not get them to say yes to everything and then make four times the amount of commissions?
I love that.
I'm just
I
saying.
love that because they believe if they believe in you and you're a good person and they're basically investing in you and wanting to help you
Mhm. Of
and help themselves. Everybody in a way is selfish in that sense.
course.
They want to help you, but they also want to be helped in return.
Yeah.
And if you have multiple avenues where you can help a book, uh, a podcast,
Yeah.
wellness supplements,
Mhm.
why not? Why
Yeah.
not have those multiple streams? And that's where a lot of that passive income too, and where Katie and I found our niche with
Mm.
Touch My Health is we can do podcasts about wellness products, about holistic wellness, about holistic healing and
Mm.
healing after abuse
Wow.
on a podcast, on Spotify, on YouTube, and do product reviews that products that have helped us. I've lost 13 pounds, got down 3% body fat. Why wouldn't I share that with people
Yeah, of course.
that are struggling with weight loss
Yeah.
or are looking for an avenue that maybe they haven't tried yet? And if, just like you said, if you get them to say yes to one thing, you should certainly direct them to your second thing and your
Hmm.
third thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, it
Hmm.
it, it all dials into itself. Like,
Yeah.
we'll say pastors, right? Pastors in churches or um, mental health coaches.
Mhm.
Everybody writes a book about
Mhm.
their knowledge. And if you're uh, if you're being coached by that person, they're going to say, "Hey, I wrote a book about this. Go read
Right.
it." Right?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So it's a very shameful or shameless way to say, "Hey, I'm giving you this knowledge, but here's some other ways to get what my knowledge also
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
get out of what I know."
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool. I like that, man. And I'm glad we're talking about this because that viewpoint of, don't recruit into like don't try to quote unquote like take other take other people's people or something like that. I'm like, I don't see why it matter. Like I can get it from the viewpoint if you're trying to like steal them to your company, like that I find is unethical. But if you're doing it from the perspective of like, okay, I'm doing this thing, they're doing this thing, like we're like, what if we just both work together because we have separate businesses? And the other thing too that I look at is getting someone from the point of like just being an observer to taking action. Like from my understanding, the majority of people who sign up in business with you aren't going to do anything. That's just what I've heard countless number of times. That's also what I've seen a little bit
Hmm.
in comparison to the people that are like actively building in comparison to just actively sitting. And at some point in time, they might take a look at it and see that they have big checks rolling into their bank account, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to take this more seriously." But it's like only after to that point where they switch to that mindset. But no, I'm glad we're talking about this because it really was something that was anchoring me down for a long time, and I feel like this helped like alleviate that.
Really, in what aspect?
Just like talking with other people, like, oh, they're with that company. I better not talk with them. Oh, they're already been recruited. I better not. Like, but when we're changing the perspective, and I think it's also just asking, like, what are your thoughts about working with another company? Oh, I'm so not interested in doing that. Then it's like clearly we wouldn't want to push them or pull them or do anything with them. Like it's like, but
Right.
we're having the conversation right now, and it's like there's openness to it. So it's like if everybody's on the same page, then why does it matter? Like
Well,
it's
I mean, nothing is wrong
mm,
with asking.
yeah.
You're not crossing any lines by
I like
asking
that. I like that question. I like that.
because then it's all in their court.
Mhm.
All you're doing is saying, "Hey, I got this really cool thing,
Mhm.
or I got this really great opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at it?"
Yeah.
There's no harm in that. Now, theft, obviously, in the
Yes.
eyes of
That's
the law
yeah.
is a crime, but so that stealing part of it, I mean, with affiliate marketing and network marketing, you can kind of look at it that way,
Mm,
um, where it's stealing or whatever.
sure.
But if you put the ask out there
Mhm.
and you say, "Hey, you aren't happy with whatever with company X, but I have company Y that I'm really happy with. Do you want to come look? What's the harm in it?"
Yeah. Yeah, I can get that. I think there's some validity to that too. So just for clarification on what you're saying, like if someone's actively complaining about the company they're in, then you're saying like, hey, what like I hear what you're saying. I feel for you. I wouldn't like to go through that either. Do you want to come see what I'm doing in case it would be a good fit? Because I want to like in that to that degree, you're like, I want to solve your problem.
That's exactly it.
Cool.
I
Cool.
mean, targeted. If you're asking someone and they're open to it,
Yeah.
then there's no harm, no foul.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all based off of their level of interest and what they want.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't want to work with somebody that isn't willing to work with you.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, they they'll express their interest if they believe in you and they believe in your product or believe in the opportunity
Yeah.
or believe in the book that you wrote and loved reading it, they're going to tell other people too.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, you know, that's another way to look at it is if you get one person to read your book, you can probably get 1,000, but
Totally.
it's that first one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. And I like what you touched on there where you said, it's based off of them because I was just talking with a good friend, Michael Humoon, earlier about this. And I've had a big insecurity about this personally, where I'm like afraid to ask somebody else. And it's kind of like my own insecurity that I'm like putting onto somebody else. But I mean, in my viewpoint, I think like talking about this more and looking at it more, it's like we're just having a conversation and seeing what is going to come from it. If nothing comes from it, then that's fine. Let's just shake hands and be friends. And if something comes from it, then great. Let's shake hands and be friends. Like, it doesn't matter. The idea is to create those relationships and have them continue long term. And if there's more and more benefits that come from it, then even better.
Yeah, and great. I mean, you're not putting a plastic bag over their head and shoving them in a van and saying, "You're
Right.
coming with me." You know,
You
you're
don't
all
have any choices. Sorry. Yeah, yeah,
you know, all it is building relationships and
yeah. Hmm.
whether that relationship blossoms into a business partnership or whatever it is,
Yeah.
then putting the ask out there is the first step. And they say that for all of marketing. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. And I'm glad that I'm glad that you have that struggle uh, because I have the same struggle as well doing that part. Like, I don't want to step on your toes and, you know, you're 100% right where it's your own insecurity that
Mm,
you're imposing on them because I feel the
hmm.
same way sometimes.
Hmm.
I'm like, man, they're already, a pretty successful person, da da da. I may not uh,
Mm,
be at their level, but maybe you don't know. Maybe they are looking for something a problem you can solve. You
yeah.
never know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like where this is going because it's almost like, I mean, we're both going through this. It's almost like that it's the thought of
Yeah.
apprehension, which is different than actually talking to someone and maybe it's just having the thought is stopping someone from doing something so drastically
Hmm.
that they aren't willing to just go and talk to the person about it. And maybe they don't know how to talk to the person about it. And so this is like a double at that point. It's not just, oh, I have apprehension about talking about it. I have apprehension and I don't know how to talk about
Are you
it.
an overthinker?
Overthinker? I can be, for
Or yeah.
sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And
I don't
I
enjoy it.
think that's where
Uh,
some of that struggle may lie too, is you're looking too deep into things.
sure.
Just throw the ask out there, see what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
there's
Mm.
no harm in it.
I'm gonna
I'm
have
not
to
much of an overthinker, Ian, to be honest.
That's
Uh,
smart.
I let my girlfriend be the overthinker. That's that's her job in our
I love
relationship.
it. I love
Uh,
it.
but
Yeah.
I mean, certainly we all deal with our own struggles in the mind, right? You're fighting yourself most
Yeah.
of the time. You're not fighting anybody. Nobody is
Mhm.
out there. There might be people out there telling you you suck and you'll never be anything,
Sure.
which that should be a platform for you to get on your horse and see how far you can take it just to show them. But I mean, I struggle with my own abilities to be able to, as much as I love to talk to people,
Yeah.
I'm still shy about pitching business ideas or my own health and wellness products, even though I believe in them 100%,
Hmm.
it still is a little bit of apprehension because I don't want to come across as a salesman. I don't want to sell you anything. I want to help you.
Right.
And that's that mind struggle, right?
Sure. Of course. Wow. 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 How do you kind of get through that for yourself? What do you do?
I write things out and then usually I read it and proofread it and then write a second version of what what I wrote out and then deliver.
Cool.
Sometimes there's the apprehension because I feel like the person is in a income level too high for me to reach or to talk to or um and the way that I've overcome that is to look at them and as people also. I mean, my CEO of the company I work for, he's just a guy too.
Yeah.
The you know, that's what I have to remember
Hmm.
is we're all just people. We all fight the same thing. I'm sure people that make millions of dollars have some of the same struggles that us thousandaires do, you know.
I never thought about like that. Wow.
How
And
many how many millionaires probably go home and fight with their wives too about money and
yeah,
you
just
know.
bigger numbers, right? The only difference.
That's it. It is just bigger numbers.
Hmm.
Mo money, mo problems.
Wow. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, because I guess I mean, I'm not sitting there talking with like these multi mega millionaires or anything that are like, here's my personal problem. So you don't know because you haven't talked with them. So you can't have that observation. So
Yeah.
a little too far away to, huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
if you've got some type of mental hurdle, I mean, that that tends to be the only way to get over that. I learned how to ride a Harley by jumping on a motorcycle. I taught myself how to ride a motorcycle. I was scared as hell. And the only way that I was going to get over that fear, just like any fear, is you got to do it.
Yep.
Get
Yep.
up and do it, right?
I agree completely. Interesting. I like that. It's removing some of that overthinkingness by doing it. And the more you do, the less you think, and the more you know. Whoa. Good moments.
The fireworks in the background. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I actually have to give you and Michael Hamoon a big shout out because I was literally just talking with him less than like 2 hours ago, and we were getting in deep with this. Like he even was pointing it out. He's like you look physically uncomfortable because I was like, I guess I was like shifting back and forth in the chair. He's like, dude, you
Gosh.
have to talk about what you do. You have to talk about what you sell, and you have to talk about how you get paid. You have to do those things. And I'm just like the most apprehensive, like you, and it's so funny, like hearing me be apprehensive about it because I have literally gone up to strangers on the street and asked them to buy things from me point blank range. Strangers on the street, I'm totally fine. People I know, apprehensive. And the funny thing is, I've had more than 10 people at this point just give me money. Sometimes $5, sometimes a couple dollars. I had one guy in particular, he just gave me $20. It was less than a 5 minute conversation. It was incredible.
You know why that is, though, Ian? You know
Why?
why you
Why?
have an easier time asking complete strangers
Oh,
because
tell
you
me.
have no relationship.
Yes, that's it.
You, if they tell you no, you're not going to be heartbroken. It's not going
Doesn't
to,
matter.
you're like, oh, okay, well, next one.
Exactly.
Your friend, if they tell you no, you're like, well,
Mm,
shit, what, are you sure though?
yeah.
It might hurt your feelings a little bit. You're like, you. you told me that you had this problem. I got a fix
Ah.
for you.
I think I actually just figured it out, like us talking about this.
Uh-huh.
So this is in dating and in relationships, I have had I'm not even gonna like I can't even like if I told you I had a difficult time, it would be an incredible understatement. Like it has been horrible, the worst, like unbearable to deal with like having relationships with like fit like significant other uh, having a relationship with a woman has always been very, very hard for me. And I think what's going on in my mind is I consider like relationships and other people to be very close, like emotionally. And so what happens is I get into this viewpoint of comparing the two unknowingly in my mind to say this is similar to this. And so what I'm trying to avoid without being actively aware of it, and it was only through this conversation that we just had, which helped me uncover this, is that I am so afraid to be emotionally destroyed that I do not want to have the conversation because I don't want to feel the fear, the anger, the upset, the feeling of rejection, but I think what I've just been able to associate or be able to like clearly see the difference with is when it comes to women, they stop talking to you, even if they say that we want to be friends, right? That's been my experience. And with business, it doesn't matter. There's not like this there I've never seen a friend get so offended that they are at this level of saying, I never want to speak with you for the rest of my life. Like that just doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
Even when they say no, it's like, cool, let's just shake hands and be friends.
Yeah, talk about something else.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Oh, you don't want to do business? Cool. What's up? How can I help you? Do
Right.
you need anything?
So with women, I mean, do you attract crazy? Does crazy
I don't
just
know. No, I don't even know, to be honest with you. Like,
okay?
I've just had a really hard time with women, like just my entire life. Like, I think pretty early on, I was put on like a sedative. And I noticed after being on the sedative that like I had a harder time communicating in general. And I've never really had an issue with women being attracted to me. Like that's never been like the struggle. It's always just been like having the relationship has always been hard. And I'll honestly, I've gotten to the point like this is where I've taken it where I am like I'm happy being single. Like I'm when someone if I have a woman like a woman that's even drop dead gorgeous, I'm like I'd rather not. It's fine. I don't need to. I'm not even interested. Like I don't care how hot you are.
You
Like it
can't
does.
be afraid of heartbreak. You got to put it out there, buddy.
Oh, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm like, I'd rather just have my life and we can be friends, and that's totally fine with me. I don't need anything else from this.
But that's because that it's easier
Oh, it's so much
because you
easier.
have one person to deal with, and that's yourself. You
Yeah,
don't have to worry about anybody else's
thank
feelings.
you.
You don't have to worry about
Yes.
checking in with that other person.
Yes.
But I mean, I grew up around women.
Okay.
I had a sister that's my best friend.
Oh, wow.
Uh, I've got, I grew up with around my biological mom that I don't
Mm,
talk to anymore. And then when
hmm
I moved with my dad, he was with who I call my mom now.
hmm
And so really having that female mentorship growing up and my sister being my best friend, I think that alleviates some of the awkwardness of being able to talk to girls
hmm
or women. Um, and that's once you can kind of figure out how to carry that conversation, that's where it becomes easy. They just they they like to laugh, and if you can make them laugh, that's the hardest part.
That's awesome.
Breaking I mean, you're a good looking dude. I mean, there's no look, being single, I was single for 2 years,
Okay.
and when Katie and I met, I was fine with it. I mean, it was me and my daughter, um, and I was totally okay
Wow.
and had no problems, just like you. I loved being single. I could go do whatever I want with
Yeah.
whoever I want. Didn't
Yeah.
have to answer to anybody but, my daughter at the house. So long as my responsibilities at the house were taken care of, I didn't have shit else to worry about.
Cool.
And not a whole lot since I've been with my girlfriend, and we've been together 3 years, and that's that's what some of that bullshit you gotta sort
Mm.
through is to find one that also goes with your uh with just kind of plays your game as well as you play your game. And
Mm.
as laid back as you are, you've got to probably find somebody that's laid back too, and somebody that can almost bounce ideas off you or complement your personality. Somebody that can ride with your personality and you can ride with hers, and you
Mm.
guys can complement each other. That's
Yeah.
that's hard to find. It is. You gotta you gotta go through a lot to get there, buddy.
That's fair.
I wouldn't be so scared um to have more relationships to get to get to know people and get to know what you like and uh what you find attractive. Attractiveness is not just looks.
Yeah.
Attractiveness is somebody that you uh want to be around, um not
Mhm.
just in the bedroom, but somebody that you look forward to coming home to, somebody you look forward to going on a date with. You know the difference between uh, a marriage and a divorce,
Besides the obvious?
besides the obvious? Married people that last are always friends.
Huh.
They're friends first.
Huh.
Most of the time when people get divorced is because they didn't have that built-in friendship. They didn't
Mm.
have that solid foundation of friendship.
Mm. Wow. I like that.
So I mean, you have a lot of female friends, you said, so that's a huge starting point for sure.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that, man.
Don't be afraid, buddy. Just put it out there. Put yourself out
Uh, I just, yeah, I appreciate that. Like, I think I'm just at the point where I'm like, I'd rather just wait 10 years to get to know the person because within that 10-year time frame of interacting with them, I'm really gonna know if I really like them or not.
there.
I'd prefer to do that rather than just like jump in and have a relationship and like then figure out all this personality stuff later. It's kind of like what you're saying with like the friend thing. Like I'd rather have a good friend first, or I'd rather get to know them incredibly well before. Like I'd rather have like their upsets and know why they get upset and how they get upset. I'd rather know that in advance. So in the very least, I can do something about it versus being like in the relationship and be like, this is now horrible. Who is this person? I didn't sign up for this.
Right. And you're going to go through that too. I mean, that's part of taking it slow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A
So,
lot of
so.
people nowadays are, 3 months in and they're moving in together, and then in 6 months they're married. And in a year, they're buying a $450,000 house. It's like in 1 year from the time you met to
Then,
12
yeah.
months later, you now live together and have $450,000 worth of debt. And now you're finding out you guys aren't the best of friends. And, taking it slow, there's a lot to that. My girlfriend and I didn't move in together until Well, we were 2 and some change years in.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that.
There's a lot to it. I mean, you need that time to get to know people and get to know their quirks and get
Mhm.
to know what you like and dislike and you
Mm.
guys I say this a lot too is go on a trip with someone within the first 3 months of dating them on
Okay.
an overnight stay, at least I'd say 2 nights,
Hmm.
and see if you can stand to be around that person for that 48 to 72 hours, right? Go
Oh
take
yeah.
a week
Okay. Sure.
because you're gonna see how they live
Okay.
to an extent.
Yeah.
And can you deal with that person and the way they live and the way that their morning routine is and whatever else, right?
Hmm.
You're around that person for 72 hours straight
Yeah.
in another town, not just, at your house or their house, but in another town.
Wow.
And it'll give you a lot of telltale signs of whether or not you guys will work.
Mm. Okay.
I
Good.
always love that one because that was how I found, weeding through all of the ones prior to Katie is that's how I I found out how I would be able to have a relationship with them or not.
Mm.
And I could tell instantly.
Mm. Nice, man. I like that. It's admirable, man. How did you guys decide to wait the 2.5 years?
Um, we both have children.
Oh.
My daughter was in a different school district. Hers were in a different school district, but we could have combined. And we talked about it, and I told her that I wasn't ready.
Mm.
And I told her that, when it's time, we'll know. And we got to be, I mean, we were spending weekends together. We were spending, uh, we had introduced our children
Mm.
and got through all of that. And, we were pretty much within reason 3 to 4 days a week spending time together.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
we would go on dates and all of that. And when my daughter graduated, uh, we talked about it again and kind of revisited that
Hmm.
conversation, and we both felt like we were ready. And
Wow, cool.
next step. And it's a big step, and I don't know that people put enough emphasis on living together. I
Mm.
think people just see it as a financial reason to
Mm.
do a lot of things. And I can see that side of it, like, oh my gosh, if we move in, we'll save so much money. But there's so many other aspects to living together than just the financial side. So that was really what prompted us to move in together was the timing. The timing we felt was right
Mm.
after, you know, 2 years and whatever.
Mhm. Mhm. That's awesome, man. And how did you guys feel when you finally moved in together?
Uh, how did we feel? I mean, we were excited about it.
Cool.
We had a hurricane the Monday after we moved in,
Yeah.
uh, Hurricane Beryl,
Okay.
and we moved in on a Saturday. That Monday, the hurricane hit, and me, my daughter, and her just all laid in bed and listened to the hurricane blast through Houston, Texas. And that was kind of a defining moment where it's like, this is awesome. Like, this is great. I felt like we made the right decision at the right time.
Mm.
My daughter was home. That transition from high school to college, you have like a month or two. And um, she asked or pretty much told us that she wanted to start calling my girlfriend mom, not like, you're my mother or anything to blast her own mom, but she felt comfortable enough with calling my girlfriend, my girlfriend mom, and it was like that's kind of a big moment in
Mm.
adulthood when you have children accepting the person that you're with and them on
Mm.
their own. Because I never told my daughter to call Katie mom or uh, ever told her to call anybody by any name.
Okay.
Uh, so that was a big one too, and that really let me know that she was accepting of our relationship, and we had many talks about it, my
Mm.
daughter and I, about my relationship, and that's
Hmm.
that's another hurdle as a parent, is uh, combining households with children.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's that's a big struggle in parenthood, is finding the right person that can complement you, but also complement your parenting style.
Wow. I
Because
think
you
that
can't
says a lot.
complete, hard ass strict parent and the other one be so lackadaisical it won't work.
Right. Wow.
And vice versa.
Hmm. Hmm.
You gotta find ones where it kind of complements each other.
I think you're right.
Parenting styles anyways.
Yeah. Question for you.
Yep.
Do you say you're in Texas?
I am in Texas. I'm in Houston.
Wow. How do you like living over there?
It's okay. I like it. I've lived here 11 years, and
Wow.
it's a place that I've lived other than the city I grew up in, which was Las Vegas. Would never in my life move back to Las Vegas. I still go and visit all my family out there,
Oh,
but
wow.
I've lived here. I lived in Arizona for 10 years, and this year marks 12 years in Texas, and the hurricanes are bananas, right? It's insanity. This one, Hurricane Beryl, was the first one I actually sat through. Oddly enough, every hurricane that has hit, we had a big one in 2017, and it was on the weekend that Floyd Mayweather boxed Conor McGregor, and I had a trip planned to go to Vegas for the fight. Buddy was throwing a big house party for the fight. I flew out there like Thursday, and the hurricane hit on Saturday, and I got stuck in Vegas for an extra week
Wow.
because all of Texas airports were shut down.
Oh my gosh.
So I missed that one. Uh, I think there was like one miniature one, but it's cool. There's a lot of industry out here. Oil and gas is huge. There's
Hmm.
lots of jobs. There's lots of people.
Hmm.
Traffic is a traffic is a bitch.
Yeah.
Out in Houston, I mean, this is the fourth, fifth largest city in the country. So
Wow.
we've got two, three sides of downtown. You're in downtown and you look east and there's some more downtown. It's huge. I work downtown and I love it. I love working downtown. Um, I ride the bus to my office. They have a park and ride that I just
Hmm.
drive to and then ride the bus in. It's so much easier.
Cool.
But the other than like local transportation in downtown,
Hmm.
local or metro transportation, buses and subways and all of that doesn't exist outside of the city. I
Hmm.
lived in Portland for 6 years, and Portland actually had the best system. They had buses and they had, I think it was called the Max, and it was, I don't know, I called it an above ground subway. I have no idea whatever those are called.
Hmm.
It was like a train, and it went from one side of uh, Portland suburb from the west side all the way to the east side. And you could get anywhere in that city, and it was fantastic. So the local transportation here in Houston is a problem and is a
Hmm.
huge struggle. So you have to have a vehicle
Hmm.
or some mode of transportation, really.
Hmm.
That's the biggest problem other than the hurricanes that I've felt here anyway. We had to buy my daughter a car. We had to buy our 16-year-old daughter a car just so they can get around, just because there's no buses available.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
cool. Uh, Katie and I don't see it as our landing place forever.
Hmm.
We've talked about coming out there in your world of Florida and
Oh, you should.
alligator land.
Do what you do. Maybe we can be neighbors. That would be cool.
That would be rad.
There's a house for sale right across the street from us if you want to buy it.
Not interested in buying real estate, man. That is a form of passive income that I am not interested in.
Really? Why?
There's I feel like there's too much risk in it.
Yes,
Um,
thank you. Yes.
yeah, there's too much risk in it. You think of the first of all, let's address the amount of debt you're incurring, right? You're going automatically into we'll just call it $400,000 worth of debt because
Sure.
that's about the median size income home now or whatever. $400,000 worth of debt for 30 years. I don't have
Hmm.
400K to just throw at a house cash. I wish I did. I'm working towards that. But then you take the interest rate, and
Yep,
now your $400,000 home just went to a $700,000 home.
easily. Yep.
And with the interest rate and, the amount of years, to me, it just doesn't make sense.
Can I jump into this a little bit because I really like this topic? So, buying a house, because I'm in the middle of doing this. It's very stressful.
Are you? Yeah, I bought a house too. I got it.
Yeah, yeah. And I found a few things that help with that in relation to payments and structuring and things like that because you can set up payments from my knowledge. I mean, I wouldn't even say set up payments, but if you make 1 month, one payment a month, it's 12 payments in total, right?
Right.
For whatever reason, if you pay bi-weekly, there's more weeks than there are months, so you actually get you get an additional payment on top. So you get 13 payments, not 12. And if you then put a little bit on top of it in terms of the payments, so instead of doing, if let's just say for the sake of example, the monthly payment is like $800 a month, but you do 1,000, you then have $200 additional going on to the principal, which then pays it off that much faster. So instead of it just being 13 payments, now instead of being 12 payments, now you're at 13, and then you have the additional principal on top of it, then it just starts to roller coaster into itself. That's just my viewpoint.
That's fantastic if you can do that.
Fun times.
That makes the most sense. I bought a house in '09 in
Mm-hmm.
Arizona
Mm-hmm.
and sold it when we left Arizona. And after that '09 crash, do you
Yeah,
remember the
I was in high
the
school.
big housing market crash in
I've
'09?
heard about it. I've heard it was pretty horrible for people.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I mean, there was so many vacant houses. There were so many repossessions. There was, I mean, bank foreclosures all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
I bought during that time
Oh, okay.
because financially it made sense.
Right.
I was married at the time, and we bought at the low like you want to do with stock. I saw it as as an investment option.
Of course.
And I mean the prices were 400, 400% less, 300%
Oh
less
my gosh.
in oh
100%. That's remarkable.
bought a 3 bedroom, 2 bath house for $90,000, Ian. You can't touch a 3 bedroom, 2 bath house for less than about 250 nowadays.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Most areas, in
Yeah.
most areas,
Yeah, I think you're right.
right? And it just, like I said, it's too much of a gamble. You're putting yourself
Yeah.
in too much debt, and
Mm,
to me it just doesn't make sense. To others,
mm,
that's their niche. That's what they find is the best for them.
mhm,
And it is a way to earn passive income is if you can buy multiple houses, have them rented out,
mhm,
and have a residual rent and all that paid to you,
mhm.
which is a fantastic way to make money. For me, it's just not for me. I don't want to deal with renters. I don't want to deal with having to kick people out if they don't pay their rent.
Mhm.
Squatters are big and like
Squatters, yeah. I've had that type of viewpoint before about evictions and stuff like that, and I think that have you ever heard the term like just paying someone to move out? I think is
no,
like, yeah, there's someone who talked with me a while about this, like if they're dealing with squatters or something like that, regardless if it's ethical, unethical, doesn't even matter, but if you just pay them to leave, it's so much cheaper and easier.
that makes sense.
And it sounds like the easiest way to get rid of somebody. Because if like, okay, good, you have to leave first, but I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars to do it. Like so much easier than having to go through an eviction, having them potentially screw something up in the house, incredibly resentful towards you. You're making me move. I hate you. It's like, I'm going to pay you money.
Yeah,
You can leave.
here's $1,000. Get out.
Yeah, $2,000. Here you go. Have a nice day. Let's just shake hands and be friends and move on with our lives. No problem.
Take out a window, rip a couple of doors off the hinges. There's your $1,000. You know,
For sure.
and you could have saved. I didn't even think of that. That's a great idea.
That's what I've heard, and it's just trying to like, and I've seen the look that people give you. I've walked into the city before asking for eviction papers because I was just like, I want to be prepared for this, and they just, I was like, can I have eviction papers? And they just gave me this look of like, why do you need? You don't need those.
They
Avoid
felt
this at all
sorry.
possible.
They certainly felt sorry for you.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I don't need them for me, not right now, but I just want them. I don't even know where they
Just
are. I bought all these things. I don't even ever use them. So silly.
yeah, that would be tough. Um, to me, it just doesn't
Hmm.
interest me.
Sure.
Stock and investment and increasing my portfolio. Crypto is
Hmm.
more like a gamble, but getting into Roth IRAs and where you can max out your Roth IRA at $7,000 a year and it grows 10 to 12%
Hmm.
annually. If you can do that, that's a way better investment to me than buying a house.
Sure. I can get that.
I'd rather put, I pay almost $3,000 in rent a month, and a lot of people will say, "Hey, that's you're just throwing money away," and they're probably right. But when the AC goes out, who do I call? I call the guy that owns the house and say, "Hey,
Hey,
come
buddy.
fix it. It's
Yeah,
broken.
yeah. Yeah. Here's not my problem.
Here's not my problem." Yeah, yeah. The garbage disposal go out. We had the AC go out.
Wow.
Um, and both times I called the landlord. He came over that day. And again, not my problem.
Sure.
And it was super easy.
That's cool.
When I owned a house, I had to fix the house, I had to paint the house, I had to do all these things, and I like doing that stuff, but I don't want to be obligated to it.
I like that.
So you get to have that fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad we're talking about these things because I think I've had like certain fixated ideas about just owning and property and stuff like that.
It's the American dream, Ian. Yeah,
It's supposed to be.
it's supposed to be.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad we're talking about it because it kind of alleviates me of like some internal stresses. I feel like that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
What made you want to buy a house? What made you want to
Someone
move?
told me to back in like 2007. They basically educated me on that it was a very smart financial decision to do so. And I can kind of get it. I mean like I have it like posted on a wall and essentially it's like pay off have $1,000 in emergency savings, pay off all your credit cards, then it's have 3 to 6 months in emergency savings, then it's like buy a house, then it's pay off a house. So, but I mean, honestly, like the more I look at it, just with everything that I've had to deal with, including property taxes and stuff like that, it's like totally hit out of left field for it. But I would honestly just rather build passive income. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because building those relationships with people is like those people also care about you, right? It's not just a one-sided thing where it's like it's all me. And that's kind of how I feel like owning a house is or landlording or anything like that is it's
Mhm.
like everyone just kind of like it's kind of a me thing and it's kind of like they owe me money thing and I have to fix it. It's like I think the flow is kind of funny, but with like passive income, it's just like, look, we're choosing to work together on a regular basis. And if we just happen to be making a lot of money together, then like that's a good thing. And like I want that. And I almost think it's funny too because there's this like viewpoint that I hear from people at times where they think that like passive income relates to like Ponzi schemes and stuff like that, and that's like not true at all. Like Ponzi schemes are illegal and the reason why they're illegal is because they're only money based. Like they're illegal because they're only money based, not member. Like if it's a membership, if you're buying a membership, like Amazon is obviously a legal enterprise. The reason why it's legal is because they're selling products. And
Good.
services are also legal. So like you do things with health, right? You have products that relate to health. Again, that's a legal thing. So like gym memberships are just they're just people who are going in there and use it's like more of a service. So there's people who I've come across who are like, "Oh, that's a Ponzi scheme or that's illegal or I shouldn't," and it's like, no, it's as legal as going to Walmart or anyone else that's selling anything, you know?
Well, a Ponzi scheme is more where it's only money.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's not a good or service being provided.
Hmm.
You're investing and then turn around and it's paid back to you incrementally,
Yeah.
depending on how many more people sign up and invest.
Hmm.
That's a Ponzi scheme, and many people went to jail,
Yeah.
and many more people are indicted still to this day. There was one last year that I remember. It was like over $900 million
Mhm.
um, for this Ponzi scheme. People try to do it, but they get found. And 100%, if you're not providing a good or a service, then it can certainly be illegal.
Yeah.
And with affiliate marketing, network marketing, you are supplying a good or a service
Hmm.
for money, and
Yeah.
that's what everyone is doing in sales or
Yeah.
in shoot. I mean,
Good way to
you
put
said
that.
Amazon. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. I think with like what we do, it's a little bit different because not only are you getting something that you're paying for, you're also getting paid on top of it. And if you work with more people, you just get paid more. Like it's so funny to me that like network marketing in general has this like totally negative. like I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like I've very often experienced this like negative, it's bad, I don't like it, like I don't use it,
Yeah.
you know, sort of like back off effect to it. But I'm like, why? Like what? You're making money together to live a life of total freedom where you have all the time, money, and you have an
Yeah.
amazing team to work with that are self-motivated and want to do things with you, and you can go and you get rewarded to go on cruise ships. Like, what am I missing here? Like, where is all this negativity coming from?
Here's the negative. Yeah. Yeah, you know what really that where that started was that whole pyramid scheme,
Yep.
you know, where again, people went to jail, much like a Ponzi scheme,
Yeah.
where you can't make more than the top person, right? Like a
Yep.
pyramid. Yeah. Network marketing is building relationships
Mm-hmm.
and sharing things that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever told somebody about a movie you saw and was like, "Bro, you gotta go see this movie."
Yes, thank you.
You just networked that movie for free and they they're now going to spend their money to go see the movie that you told them to see,
Yeah. Word of
right?
mouth marketing.
What's another really big network marketing? I guess we'll call it a service, right? The
What is one?
church. The
Yeah,
church.
totally. Church is a huge, massive.
Network marketing. If I go to church and I love the pastor, I love the
Yep.
service, I love the message, I'm going to tell people about it.
Yep.
And I'm a faith-based person.
Hmm.
Our company is faith-based,
Cool.
and when you go to church and you like the service and you like the pastor and you enjoy it, you're going
Hmm.
to tell all of your friends who are also in the same mindset, in the same faith, that, bro, you should go to this church. It's
Yeah.
great. Looking for a church, go to this church. Okay.
Hmm.
Nobody has a problem with that. Nobody has a problem with you telling
True.
them what restaurant you went to
Yeah.
and ate at
Hmm.
and you loved the food.
Yeah.
You're just networking for that restaurant for free or for this church or for whatever. But I think you're right. It's because of the negative kind of black cloud that hangs over network marketing, and so much is becoming network marketing
Hmm.
in this now digital world we live
Hmm.
in. Everything is affiliate marketing, network marketing. You're just sharing products that you like.
Yeah. A lot of
The
it
weight
is.
movement that I've taken, that I've lost 13 pounds. Why wouldn't I tell my friends? Right? Thanks,
Yeah.
buddy.
Congrats. Yeah, man. That's awesome. And so I'm curious to hear your success story on this as well. Like after you had that success of losing that weight, how inclined were like what did that make you feel like in relation to the company and the products?
It gave me a sense of satisfaction that the products that I take, the supplements that I'm using and I'm telling other people about are 100% real.
Hmm.
And it almost gave me that approval to tell other people. We have supplements that work. We
Hmm.
have things that worked for me.
Hmm.
I've had 3 back surgeries.
Wow.
I showed you the pictures. I've
I
got
remember
metal.
this. I remember
Yeah,
this.
I've got 6 screws and 3 plates in my back, and
Wow.
we have a turmeric and black powder or black pepper
Hmm.
supplement. It's a
Hmm.
powder that we put in. My girlfriend and I put in our coffee,
Yeah.
and it helps with inflammation. It's got
Wow.
turmeric in it as well,
Yeah.
right? So it's it's uh it's an inflammation product that helps with my back pain.
Hmm.
I wake up sometimes and I have a little bit of backache. I drink my morning coffee with that product,
Hmm.
and good to go. Like
Cool.
it feels so much better. And so anybody that says, "Oh my gosh, my arm hurts, my back hurts, whatever,"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Okay, I've got something that can help you."
that's cool.
Right? And that's where it goes with anything. I mean, if your friend calls you and says, Ian, I'm looking for a great hat,
Hmm.
you're gonna be like, "Hey, look at my hat. I love, if I say, Ian, I love your hat.
Hmm.
Where'd you get it? You're gonna tell me, right? So I
Of
can go
course.
get the same thing, of course. You just want to help your friends, and
Yeah.
you want to share what they're share with them what they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Dude, I'm so grateful to like have this conversation with you about this because for years
Definitely.
I've had this like, what?
So definitely.
Yeah, man. It's such a cool moment to share with you. It's like I feel like a feeling tr of in my own life just of like transition and change and it's cool because I feel like there's always a lot of uncomfort around the topic and like discussing and like trying to introduce people to things in relation to network marketing. But I'm like, the more we're talking about it, like the more I'm getting convinced on it. I'm like, yeah, this is a real thing that you can make money from doing and you can work with amazing people. It's like, yeah, like I almost get confused of like, why wouldn't anybody else want what are we missing here, you know?
Yeah, and if people believe in you and they believe your story and why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to build that relationship, man? And it's been great for us. I mean, we love it, and it's a way
Hmm,
to build more relationships.
that's awesome.
What with your experience, like we talked about, uh you really like Ray Higdon.
Yeah.
Uh, with your experience with him, he does a lot of network marketing, right?
Hmm.
Faith-based as well.
Hmm.
Do you feel like there's a that same kind of negative vibe overlooking him too, or you think it's just you know, a blanket statement, or do you think there's
So,
acceptance around certain people, or
well, ask your question again. I want to make sure I answer this right.
so with we'll just say Ray Higdon includes faith into his network marketing.
Yep.
Do you feel like there's that same negative aspect around people that include faith uh, into their network marketing, or do you think network marketing as a whole kind of has a black cloud?
I get the impression that network marketing as a whole has a black cloud to it. I think that's a very general thing, because people will typically have a bad experience. They'll get one bad network marketer on their field or in their
Mhm.
area, and then they have this awful, they don't like it because of that, and that's basically the end of the story. Ray Higdon, though, so I I followed Ray for like 10 years. And like I bought one of his courses online to start off with, and he was already successful at that point in time. Like he went in 2008, 2009, he was in real estate. He lost a bunch of money. Like he lost his businesses and he was in debt, foreclosure. He shared a story on one of his courses or something like that where he was having a barbecue in the backyard and his friends were there and his family were there and there was a debt collector that knocked on his door and his mom answered the door and he
Oh,
was
tough
like,
time.
yeah, he was like, that was not a good day. Talk about embarrassing. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine what that must have felt like. Um,
Yeah.
and so he went through all of that, and from my observation, he became very successful at it. Like if you see him on doing any of his LinkedIn Lives or anything like that, in his background, you will commonly see these gold records. And those are actual, like, I could say certificates, but they're like awards given to people who have sold like over $1 million with a certain company. And I don't know if it was 1 million or if it was 50,000 or I don't know what those records. I didn't go to his house. I didn't read the fine print or anything, but only specific people get those things, and it has to do with a high level of sales with specific products. And so Ray has built up an audience over the years, has had a lot of success from doing it. He's the type of person that can go sell on the street to a stranger. Like, I can sell on a street to a stranger, but recruiting them is a completely different topic to me. So for
And to
whatever,
follow,
huh?
getting them to follow you.
Yeah, and doing that sort of thing. Like it's two different arenas type of thing. Because I took his advice and I tried to recruit in grocery stores and Ubers and Lyfts. I mean, I had thousands of phone numbers and I could never sign anybody up, and I just couldn't figure out why. And that was my start. That was my beginning. And I think that's why I'm so ingrained into the field of network marketing, because it's not something that I've done passively. It wasn't something that I like took lightly. It wasn't something that I was like playing around with. Like, I was being very serious about it for a very long time. And I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I actually put this on my wall. It's like it was one of my first commission checks from a company that I have recently started working with. And to me, that's a really big deal
That is a big deal.
because, yeah, because I just came from like succeeding in network marketing isn't just a fun thing for me. It's something that I literally have felt. I'm using this like that term. I have shed blood, sweat, and tears for this.
Yeah.
Like the amount of emotional discomfort that I have had to live through, I would never want anyone to go through that. And that's why I try to make it so easy for other people. Like there's this really good quote that Ray Robin Williams has. I'm just gonna go get it. So William Robbins quote on others being happy.
Let me fix my camera, Ian.
Okay. You ready for it?
Oh, okay. There we go. My phone rang while we were talking.
You're good. Um, so just going back to it. So Robin Williams has a quote that says, I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it's like to feel absolutely worthless and they don't want anyone else to feel like that. And when I read that, I was like, thank you. That's what I've been trying to voice for like that was nail on the head sort of viewpoint for me.
Yeah.
Do we just
Sure.
relate to that?
I've heard that quote before and
Yeah.
I love it too.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought it up because that is one of the things that has stuck with me
Hmm.
and why I mean I am the way that I am is because my happiness was taken and I
Mm.
never want somebody else to feel that way. I
Yeah.
don't ever want anybody that's around me to feel the way that I felt.
Hmm.
And comedians like Robin Williams, which that dude was hilarious,
Mm.
battled so many demons that nobody knew about because
Mm.
outwardly he was so comedic and happy and fun to be around. And having that happiness taken away or that hurt, being hurt, you don't want anybody else to feel the same way you do. And
Yeah.
it's an incredible quote.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you're right.
I love that one.
I agree. Cool. I feel like we're at such a good point with this. Like, this is such a good podcast, and I think that this is phenomenal and amazing. I loved this conversation. I feel like you've helped me out a lot. We touched on so many points that like I've been battling with personally, internally. And I think that Michael Hamoon's really gonna like listening to this episode because like we just uncovered this thing that I was like jerking around. Like Michael's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. And having him hear this, he'll probably be like, "Oh wow." I mean, he's gonna respond however he responds, but like, I just appreciate you talking with me about this because I never knew it until we just had this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad I can help and lend some knowledge. I'm only 6 months into the network marketing
Mm.
business, but I would tell anybody that this is the wave of the future.
Yeah.
This if you are struggling with finding a I guess a niche or finding a business or some type of idea, this is it.
Hmm.
I think network marketing is going to be the next big thing. I mean, like AI is huge right now. That's the boom. A lot
Hmm.
of the stock, uh, AI stock is booming right now,
Hmm.
and network marketing is going to be a huge thing for the future.
Yep. I agree with that completely.
What are your other network marketing ventures? What else other than the podcast? What else do you have?
So I have thanks for asking, an affiliate app that is based off of like I literally got paid to be on a call with someone yesterday.
What? That's cool.
Yeah, it was the best thing ever. And what's crazy about it is it you're literally getting paid to network. Like I've never seen this anywhere before, but it
Hmm.
like and the best thing about it because when I was on like I remember being in like it was a grocery store in Colorado and I remember just feeling so uncomfortable after a conversation I had with someone. The thing that I've come to really realize about this is like it's just the wrong people that I've been talking to. Like those people aren't there to network. They're not there to talk with me. They're not there to try to do business ideas with me. People on this app are. People on this app are giving me friendly advice, saying I want to be of value. Here's these other networking events you can go to. They're like just feeding me information that I need and want in my life to enhance, to go in a better direction. And so doing that, it's just a total game changer. Like I'm still floored that I've made money this week just because I introduced some people to the app and also just had it literally getting paid to have a conversation. That's crazy to me. I love it.
You're a good conversationalist, so that doesn't surprise me honestly with you, but certainly, I mean, what an incredible thing to say is that the people that have said no aren't the right people.
Hmm.
People that I was talking to yesterday were the right people.
Hmm. Yeah,
And I feel like that's network marketing. The people that want to work with you are going to say yes, and they're
yeah.
going to be the ones that are going to be the right people.
Hmm.
You might feel like, your buddy, we'll just say Tom. Tom will be so good at this. He's going to be so good. He's going to be my best friend. He's going to
Yep.
be my business partner. Um, he might not feel the same way.
Right.
You might be like, nah, bruh, I'm good. I don't want to. No, no, thank you.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, you felt that way and really was hopeful for that person, but he didn't feel the same way. And
Interesting.
you kind of have to accept that. And the people that say no to you aren't the right people.
Wow.
And the people that want to work with you and are excited and are looking for opportunity, those are the right people.
Yeah.
Those are the right people that you need to be with and work with.
Yeah. And isn't this crazy that we were talking about this earlier? Like just in relation to like having these viewpoints on who to sell to, who not to sell to. It's the exact same topic in my viewpoint, where we're looking at this idea of saying, I'm having all these personal internal struggles to talk to somebody else. But at the end of the day, it's their decision making skills that you're just happen to be there and you happen to say something certain to them. And whether they decide to do it or not is totally based off of them. Yes, you can obviously influence them by using persuasive language. I'm not
Yeah.
joking.
Sweet.
But
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's more or less like what they want because they might not be good for something. They might love something. For me, I love low ticket offers just because that's something like I've always been like freaked out about how my finances. But somebody else that I knew, like I had a guy that signed up with me like 7 years ago and he spent like I think it was $500 or like a grand on something. And I was like, you did what? I got a huge commission from it, but it was like totally outside of my realm or spectrum, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah. And I mean, $1,000 is a lot of money in most people's world, right?
Sure.
So you appreciate that they took their hard-earned money and
Yeah.
bet on you.
Hmm. I agree.
And that's something to be appreciative of. And it's something that you have to acknowledge to that person, I feel like,
Hmm.
um, is acknowledging their willingness to bet on you and to work with you and to
Hmm.
help, be by your side.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, I think you're right.
It's a big step. It's a big step when you start kind of changing your mindset from uh, being a company man to an entrepreneur,
Mm.
network marketing.
Hmm.
And where we met at the Faith Over Fear was a big network marketing event
Yeah.
with Rick Ogden. And great dude, um, solid family life, and very faith based. And it really was such an eye-opening moment because there's so many people in that world of network marketing that how else would you meet these people?
Hmm.
There's no other way.
Yeah.
Sitting behind my desk at out in Houston, I would not meet any of these people. And really, when you flip that mindset of being a company man to network marketing and entrepreneur, it really can expand your mind,
Hmm.
like we did with Touch My Health.
Hmm.
We expanded from health and wellness to starting a podcast to talk about health and wellness and healing after abuse.
Hmm.
And you can kind of roll that from one thing into the next and really expand your streams of income.
Hmm.
When
I
you
think
have
you're right.
multiple streams of income, if one is taken away, then you're not really down a whole lot. But if you're a company man, if you're to get fired on Monday when you go into the office, that's your whole world is
Hmm.
just came crumbling down. And
Hmm.
I've been in that position and
Mm.
not known what I was gonna do, and that really was another, I guess, reason to do this is multiple streams of income. That way, if one is taken away, it's not that big of a hit.
Right. I think you're right.
Yeah. And if you can create more streams and more streams and more streams, it's only gonna
It's going to turn into a river.
uh yeah, more streams turn into a river, rivers turn into oceans, buddy. Hopefully we get to swim in that ocean of cash and
Let's just let's just shoot.
Necessary spending.
Yeah. Let's not even like phrase it like hope we. Let's just say, you and I are gonna be on the beach in like 3 years, making like $1 million a year, having
What's
fun.
your favorite beach in Florida?
Hmm. Favorite? I really like Honeymoon Island just because it's so close to my house. It's very
Oh,
convenient.
all
And
right,
it's
cool.
really pretty. And it's called Honeymoon Island. It's a pretty name for it. It's a pretty name for it.
It's very elegant.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lovely place.
But yeah, man, you, me.
Pensacola and Destin and Orlando is I think the only other city that I no, I did go to Jacksonville
hmm
um one time.
hmm
And so those are the only beaches I've been to was Pensacola and Destin in Florida.
hmm
And those are pretty cool.
That's dope, man. I like that.
But yes, let's turn it into we will be on a
Yeah.
beach.
Future tense, it's gonna happen. We're going to make it occur. I think one thing that I learned out of a previous job that I had was that I was really upset when I had t taken off from it, but I realized that I was having all these negative self-thoughts about it. And I realized that that was part of the reason that I left. And so after that point of being aware of it, I was like, oh, my thoughts are important. I've heard this for years, but it's only been until recently that it's like I have to be careful with my thoughts. I have to be careful with what I'm thinking about. I have to be careful of how I'm viewpointing things because if I'm saying, oh, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z, and I don't like this, and I don't like that, well, you're kind of putting it into the future of saying,
Uh-huh.
something's bad is going to happen. But if you can just say, more or less like, okay, I'm just going to figure out the best solution for this scenario. I'm going to make this go right, in 10 years time we're going to be multi-billionaires. Things like that, like positive language, like careful, like personally, I have to tell myself this. I have to be careful with the negative self-talk.
Manifesting things, right?
And that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Manifest through positive words and positive actions and
hmm
what your mouth says your mind believes.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, have you ever heard this? Like there's like it's you have to be a certain type of person, you have to do certain type of actions, and you get to have certain things.
No.
Oh, okay. That's something that I've seen come into fruition many times. And like the interesting about that definition of be, you have to be a certain person. It means has an identity. So like we are podcasters. That's an identity. You can be a baker. You can be a guitarist. The list goes on and on. You can be a fox. This is like an animal, but that's more or less the identity. And this took me a lot. This took me like I had this like big revelation when this happened. So you be a certain person, right? Like we're marketers. We're being certain people. Then we're going to do certain actions. And when that definition of do comes into play, it's actually going to be like completing certain things. There's the action of like it's like performing the action, but then there's also completing certain things. So
Hmm.
there's that second part to it. And then you're going to have something, which means can be owning something or being able to possess it or being able to touch it or being able to use it. And the interesting thing about that is there's also another definition of have, which means hold a thought or idea in your mind. And so that goes back to be, right? Because if you're trying to be someone, you're having certain thoughts, holding ideas in the mind. But in your being someone, this is two different things that we're talking about. Holding ideas in the mind and being someone, having a certain identity. Those are two different things that like combined to become very powerful.
Two powers
Two
combined.
powers combined. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, oh man, that's powerful. It's powerful because to define yourself
Yeah.
as something and not make it egotistical
Yes.
or not make it to where it draws away from
Mhm.
who you are,
Mhm.
but more of a what you are. And then you start to act as that definition of yourself.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
then, like you said, you put that in your brain and you start thinking and having that mindset. Man, that can be powerful.
Yep. And here's another piece to it too. So the more we show up a certain way, you
Mhm.
do an action over and over and over and over again, you complete it so many times, you become that type of person. So you can have the certain thoughts in your mind. You want to obtain a certain identity. You do certain actions just to become that type of person. And then that type of person starts doing certain actions. I mean, this has totally played a part in my life with network marketing when I started over 10 years ago back in 2013. I was just doing the actions poorly. I sucked at it. And it wasn't until the last, I would say, 4 months that I've effectively signed up 6 to 8 people for different products and services. Trying to make sure that number's right. It was 5 for sure. Yeah. And it was all
That's
really easy. Yeah, supposedly I have a buddy who's signing up. He better sign up next week because he told me he was going to.
yeah. But to get people to that point and where they can start to believe in themselves is powerful, you know. And that's where uh so going back to relationships, do you think that in a relationship you would be more of a giver or more of a taker? And
Hmm.
I don't mean taker as in a negative way, but are you one to maybe give more than you take in a relationship?
That's an interesting question. Are
Yeah.
you talking about with like relationship as in like significant other or just friends in general?
Nope. Significant others. It's
Okay.
relationships.
So I'm
Yeah.
going to answer, I'm going to have two different answers from you because like, and I'm surprised you're not already in this. I have a WhatsApp group chat. Like I host Monday night meetings every week. I have a WhatsApp group chat, which is like,
Yeah,
has
you told
over,
me.
oh yeah. Yeah. So like in that context, I'm a huge giver. Like I'm constantly giving my time, energy, emotion. Like I give so much to people. And people kind of recognize it, but I mean, I devote like I'd say 10 hours a week of just giving my time to others. In addition to this, I'm also supporting a church to help them out. So like I give and I give and I give and I give and I give. There's this little secret to the world that I have found is that when you help other people a lot, and I don't mean it to be like excessive or anything, but when you go out of your way to help,
Mhm.
like it seems as though the universe pays attention to that because I've gotten myself into some pretty uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it just seemed like it just everything went fine. Like
Things were.
I remember being in Colorado and I was helping this church out a lot all at the same time. And I literally saw this bus in the middle of the city and I saw them going somewhere and they stopped and they opened the door and I literally hopped onto that bus and they drove for like an hour outside of the city. And I was like, where am I going to sleep? What's going to happen? Nobody had any clear answers for me and I started to get really scared. So I was like, I want off the bus. And it was in the middle of nowhere. Like I didn't know where I was. I might have had my phone on me at the time, but more or less like I was in the middle of nowhere. I was uncomfortable and I got off this bus with people that I didn't know. And like quote unquote for whatever reason, um, I saw this apartment complex and I started walking towards it. And the first person I talked to was this like driver And I was like, "Hey, can I get a ride?" And he's like, "Yeah, where are you going?" I was like, "Back to Denver." He's like, "That's where I'm headed."
Shut up.
He dropped me off like 2 blocks away from where I needed to sleep that night.
How wild is that?
Like, and that's what I mean. Like that's like one of those little secrets of the universe. That's I selfishly help just so we're all on the same page because I'm like I need things like that to happen in my life.
Good things happen to good people, and first of all, I think you have to stop and ask, why the hell did I get on that
For sure.
bus?
Like, why did I do that to begin with? That was just a silly thing for me to do. I was like, where are you guys going? They're like, I don't know. Was it great? Like, they may as well have told me Mexico for all I knew. We're gonna go to Australia tonight. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Man,
silly. I make some
I
silly
mean,
mistakes.
if you don't have any ties to anything, then I guess it doesn't really matter where you go, but just kind of free ball in life. I mean, good for
Yeah.
you, man. Like Jenny from Forrest Gump, you know. Just kind of, hey, where are you going? Uh, you know, anywhere? Okay,
Anyway,
I'm
that's funny. I
sounds
like that.
good. Yeah. Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy, dude, to talk to one person and they're going right back to the same city that you need to go back to.
Yep. I felt like I was being taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the business side of you is a giver.
Yeah.
Okay. You said
Yeah.
you had
You got yeah, you're I think you're one of the first people to catch that in a way that was special. Um The other side of me, relationship wise, I get really funny in relationships. Like, I know one relationship that I had that I really, really, really liked was with this pr really pretty girl named Lena. And it was back in high school. And, you know, I was in an emotionally hard place, and she had told me some stories about her life, and I was like, my heart just totally went out to her. Like I was just like, so humbled to hear what she had to say and how she thought about things um and the interesting thing is we never saw each other very much. Like we would have very very intimate moments with each other, and then we would just wouldn't talk for like 2 months or a month.
okay. Interesting.
And for whatever reason I just really enjoyed that relationship. It was very like, and she never expected anything from me, and I never had to do anything for her, and she never got mad at me about anything. It was the best. It was just like, and I think what I experience in relationships is I get apprehensive about having them because I'm like, this person's gonna ask me for too much. I'm not gonna have the time for it. And I'm already like, I've already gone through a lot of heartbreak when it comes to being close with people. And for me, when I grew up, the way that I was shown love was through abandonment. Like my I loved my father. I loved my father very dearly. And as a child, he meant the world to me. But when you're gone 3 months out of like 3 months, and then you see each other for like a couple days, and then he leaves for another 3 months, and you talk, and like I cried myself to sleep like I don't know how many times as a child. And so for me, I've processed that as being loved. And if someone's trying to get too close to me, then it becomes like an apprehension. It becomes a scariness because I'm like, I'm not used to this. I don't like this. This is
I'm
too much for me. And
Mhm.
so there's this like sense of, in relationships, I will be very affectionate and loving initially. And then I'm like, I want 2 months of distance on a minimum. And that doesn't really go well for many people.
Uh, no, I wouldn't imagine it would.
No. So that's why I kind of like just having friends at this point, because having a friend is, I don't have to talk to him for 6 months. Like I love the friends that I am with that are women. Like I love my friends that are women. Love them. Like I have a wonderful friend named I call her Waffles, but her real name is Lindsay, and there's a whole backstory to that.
Okay.
We talk. Sometimes we text on a regular basis. Sometimes we don't talk for like a year.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter to me. All that I know is that like Waffles and there's another wonderful woman in my life named Erica. Like we don't talk regularly or anything like that, but we really love each other. And there's another woman like Cara Lisa. Like all of these are very dear friends of mine that I wholeheartedly enjoy getting a text from them. And we've all had bonding experiences and coincidentally have I met Waffles in Utah, but uh I met Cara Lisa, Erica, and Waffles like all in Colorado. And they don't know each other, which I think is funny. But um for me, that's just like an ideal thing. I'm like, I think that love is something that is long term, and I think it's forgiving, and I think it's caring, and I don't think it has to be there all the time, but I would 1,000 times over like give my heart to those women in comparison to some pretty nice girl that I met that wanted to be very physical in a month time frame and then totally demolish my emotions and left me deserted. Like I'm not in, like I just don't care about it's so hard for me to go through that I would just prefer not to experience it. And that's why I'm apprehensive about being in physical relationships with people because I'm like I've been severely damaged and I can handle being alone. I can handle not talking to somebody. I can handle the not physical connection part of it. But to have the physical connection, get emotionally damaged, and live with that, it's just too much. It's really, really, really hard for me to go through.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
I don't know if that was too much of an answer for a question or not, but
No, that was freaking perfect. I mean, my challenge to you would be to be
oh,
open with exactly what you want and exactly your needs
hmm,
when the time arises with uh with your intentions and your feelings. I mean,
hmm,
that's if that's something that you need is, a couple days and then couple of months of, couple days together, then a couple months of nothing.
separation.
You got to
Yeah.
be open and upfront with that.
Mm,
And that's it's a challenge to you to, you know, I think everybody relationship wise has to be challenged. And
mm,
one thing that certainly I, I find funny because not everybody is built for relationships, right? And friendships are very much different with in comparison to uh, everyday relationships. Friendships like your friend Waffles and Carolisa and what was the other one you mentioned?
Erica.
And Erica. You can call them after not talking for 3 months and pick
Yeah.
up right back where you
Oh
left
yeah.
off. Right? Yeah.
100%. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I actually a buddy of mine, two buddies of mine, Sean and Tyler from high school, are the same way.
Oh wow.
We
Cool.
we play phone tag, and when we do talk, it's I mean we just keep on rolling.
Yeah.
It's the way that stuff goes, and um because they're busy, I'm busy, whatever it is.
Hmm.
Those two seem to be the ones that I don't talk to on a regular, but you can pick back up just like you and your friends. And relationship wise, your talk of, have a couple days and then have a couple months. Me, myself, I couldn't do that. Uh,
It's fair.
it,
Yeah. Everyone's different.
I like the compassion and the togetherness. And I felt the same way as you when Katie
Mm,
and I first started hanging out together, and it would be, a day here and then a couple days away, and then, as that comfortability grows, you start spending more time together. And I think something we talked about in the last podcast is love bombing. I feel like a lot start off way too heavy,
yeah.
and they love bomb, and it's all about lust and the sex, and then
Mhm.
that heavy passion,
Yeah.
and it dies
Yep.
because now what do you have? All you've done is talk about the physical part, but you haven't really dove into who the person is, and that over
Beautiful.
showing of affection, and they're buying you gifts or you're buying them gifts, and it's like this back and forth, and it's like so much and so intense all at first, and then you kind of have a couple days away and you're like, what, holy shit, who is that person actually? I mean, and that's where you have to be intentional with your thoughts and be intentional with your feelings
Hmm.
and be open and honest with it.
I agree with you.
Relationships are tough, man. I My girlfriend and I aren't married. We've been together 3 years, and we've had to talk, and neither of us are wanting to be married
Mm.
anytime soon. It's just not something that we've felt is in our cards at the moment. And just like moving in together, we'll do it when it's the right time. And I feel like a lot of relationships have to go that way for them to work. And maybe one day you'll feel, maybe one day,
Uh,
maybe one day Waffles or Carolisa or Erica will get that phone call, you know?
oh my. Yeah. I think I'm just at a point where I just love and I appreciate them. And I want to give a
Yeah.
shout out to Sashiana as well. She's been really cool. We met in New York on like random, like I would say randomly when I went to New York.
Oh
And
my
we've
God.
just been like messaging each other back and forth. I think she's funny. I'm so fond of like I'm just fond of every like I love people. I love like and then shout out to Miriam Putman as well. She's so cool. We were just texting each other back and forth the
Crazy,
other day.
crazy wild NYC story.
Huh?
Can I tell you a crazy New York City story?
You can and then I'm gonna have to go.
So I was on tour with a band. I was a drum tech and a stage tech, and we played a show in New York City
Okay,
and had 3 nights off
cool.
in New York.
Wow.
And we were all, drinking and whatever, having fun. And we all needed to get into a taxi.
Hmm.
This taxi, there were six of us. Taxi only held five.
Oh wow.
They dared me to get in a random taxi and just jump in. There was this lady sitting in the back,
No.
and they dared me to get in this, like you with this bus,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
I jump in the back seat of this taxi, and this lady's like, hello. I was like, hi, I'm Matt. How are you? We just started chatting.
No way.
Creepy. It wasn't weird. I was like, hey, where are you going? She's like 10 blocks away. I was like, cool, I'll come with you. And I jumped in and we just chatted until she got to her stop. She goes, where are you going? I don't know, actually. I said, I think I'm supposed to be at some sushi spot in an hour or
Oh
so, but
my gosh. That's
just a
so funny.
random New York City story. It just
I
popped in
love
my
it.
head
I
when you
love
said
it.
New
That's awesome,
York.
man.
Ian, good talk, brother.
Yeah, man, I love this conversation. Thank you for having this with me. This really helped me out, and I'm really looking forward to connecting more.
Yeah, yeah, we will definitely. I'll have to download WhatsApp and check that out.
You should. Yeah, it's a good group of people.
You wanna do any shameless plugs of all
Oh
of your
man.
other network marketing?
Um, I definitely think you should do one as well.
Okay.
Um, I think that we've been talking about it the entire time, and it's like if anybody wants to make passive income, if anybody wants to live that kind of lifestyle that, you get time and money and freedom all at the same time. I know very successful people who have walked away from multi-million dollar, I don't know if it's multi-million, but walked away from a very successful business with real estate and they don't have time. People in real estate, they don't have the time. They have the money, they don't have the time. This sort of passive income is the easiest, funnest, I'd say most enjoyable way to create a lifestyle that gives you the availability to have that time and money. And if anybody wants that or is thinking about it or is even looking for it, I tell my team members this and I'm like, look, I'm going to build this team whether you want it to be built or not. So you may as well just jump on the bus because we're going to go to a place that we don't know together.
On a
Uh,
bus, baby. Let's go.
yeah. So that's
Absolutely.
my, yeah, man. But what about
And
yourself? Hmm.
if you'd like, come check out my podcast. It's at Touch My Health Podcast on YouTube. We're
Hmm.
also on Spotify, same Touch My Health Podcast.
Cool.
On Spotify, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Boom. Liked. Awesome, man.